I've never seen people react to anybody in my life the way I saw everybody react to Barack Obama. Everybody dropped what they were doing and they all walked up and stood in line when he was at the damn salad.
Yeah, I was gonna say, this dude's trying to get some macaroni. Hello and welcome to Chiaspora, the show where we interview those who left Chicago, but Chicago never left them. Today we have an amazing guest from a great show right now. If you haven't seen on Apple Plus, The Morning Show, she plays Layla. Here we are, Amber Friendly.
Hi.
You've seen her in a lot of things. I've seen you in a lot of things just throughout history. It's funny, you were on Children's Hospital even.
Yes.
And a buddy, semi-buddy, David Wayne and his crew. It's an awesome show.
Yes.
But it's funny how I usually find people who, like, there's so many people here from Chicago. It's kind of ridiculous. So, of course, I see The Morning Show. I'm obsessed. Like, I literally, we binge watched it almost right away. It was amazing. And if you, like I said, if you haven't seen this, you have to see this. I promise you. It's really important. But I started going through, like, everybody's from Chicago. Tom Irwin's from Chicago. Is Janina?
Yeah, Janina and I actually grew up not far from each other.
Did you know that though?
I you know what? I think before we met, maybe I had heard something.
Like on the periphery kind of thing, but not.
Yeah, but it wasn't in my. I just didn't think about it because it wasn't that pertinent in my head.
No.
And then when I met her, I was like, oh, wait a minute. I think
I've seen you at an audition or something.
She, like, I forget what town she's from, but like literally like a couple towns over from me. And I was like, oh, like one day in the makeup chair at like 5 a.m. I was like,
you figured it out.
Yeah, we did.
That's so funny.
I was like, oh, that's totally crazy. Yeah.
That's awesome. And then I think Karen, she went to Northwestern. So she went to Northwestern. I mean, like, they're just all of you. I just thought it was so funny. I was going through and I said, this is great. So I reached out to all of you. I'm so happy that you came through.
Yeah.
And she came from downtown. So in case anybody doesn't know, it's like Schaumburg to, the north side or something. It's a haul. So thank you. Before we dig deep into Chicago, I want to know how, because I think this is I would say arguably the biggest role you've had so far, because you're on like every single episode of season 1
almost, yeah,
of The Morning Show, because it was like 8 out of 10 or something like that. How did it happen? What was the genesis of you getting this role?
I mean, I just auditioned.
That was right. Simple.
Yeah, no, I was for some reason my mind is like blanking out as soon as I was like, wait, what? But I have auditioned for the casting director several times over the years for different things. And then, I kind of came in, and it's funny, on that particular day when I auditioned for Morning Show, I had come in previously, like earlier in that week, and they called me back in for this project, and like I had a few things going on that day, and it was a real last minute sort of thing actually. So I kind of was like, okay, yeah. We walked in, we played around a little bit, and then I like had to go do like 5 other things, and then they're like, okay, cool. So then like show up on Monday. Like I got
wait, they just said that, like,
not like at the audition, but but it was one of those things where then I got a phone call and was like, okay, great. So you were gonna put you on a bail, and then okay, great. Now you're booked in, and you're filming in like 2 days. I'm like, okay, cool. To be honest, like it was so quick that I
didn't have time to soak it in.
I really, really didn't.
Yeah.
I'm not even gonna lie. And then I showed up, and then it was Vicky Thomas. I'm sorry, my brain was like, I was like, what? So I showed up on the Monday, the first day that I was supposed to shoot, and like I looked around and I was like, wait a minute, who, this person's in this?
Right. I'm in it.
This person's in this?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
You can just say it's Jennifer Aniston and it's Reese Witherspoon.
Yes,
Holy crap.
yeah. Like, and I'm not, I think my brain does this thing where I kind of blank some of that stuff out.
Well, you're like in work mode. You're like, I'm going to get there. I got to get there on time. I got to know my lines.
Yeah. I kind of like when I audition for stuff, a lot of times I kind of just, my brain is like, whatever, let me do the scene. And then like, cool, let it go. And then when I show up on set, then I'm like, oh. I'm like,
that's when you know you're a veteran, though.
oh.
Because like you're not even thinking about you're just like, all right, well, I got to audition, I got to do this, I got to do that, okay. And then once you're there, you got to crush it. And to your credit, it's awesome. Every single person on that show crushed it. Like you are all amazing. I'm serious, and I was just because I was talking to somebody who was also a guest here, and I was just discussing how when you're on a huge ensemble cast, person is on Narcos, Mexico, and when you're on those big ensemble casts, like everybody has to be amazing to raise the level of the show. And I watched that show, and I'm just like, everyone's perfect. It was so good. Tell everybody just real quickly, who don't know, just your role and a little bit about what you do on the show.
Yeah. So on Morning Show, I play Layla. And Layla is so if for those of you who haven't seen the show before, it is based around a fictional TV morning show, so like a morning news show, like a Good Day America or something, or Good Morning America. There probably was a Good Day America at some point. And at the beginning of season 1, we kind of see what happens with the two main anchors on that show are Steve Carell and Jennifer Aniston. And it comes out that that Steve Carell's character, who's like the beloved figure in morning news, is has been doing some things. And some stuff that like it's kind of reflecting some things that have been going on in the real world.
It's the Me Too movement beginning. What's so funny is it mirrors a lot, at least initially, the Matt Lauer situation. But what's interesting is that at least what it's being set out in the world is that it wasn't built on. It was actually started being written before that even happened, which is kind of crazy.
Yeah, well, unfortunately, or the great thing about the writing is that it feels real and true. And unfortunately, this is something that like isn't just an isolated incident. And so it's very much about like kind of the work family and like how the fallout of what happens when this person that's an integral part of that work family, how that affects everybody and ricochets. And so I am one of the writers on the TV show, right. the morning show. So whenever they're like running around at work and at like all night, the characters that have clearly been there all night, working all night, that run on caffeine, I'm one of those people. Right. So I'm one of the people that helps the show within the show run.
But it's amazing, and again, it's I have produced shows, and literally, I relate to a lot of the characters in different times of my career because it is all that. It is the pressure. It is the somebody above me is going to get me in trouble, but maybe they should have said. I'm not even just talking to Me Too. I'm talking like just politics. Yeah. It's very true.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like just the politics of being in an office, in any sort of work environment. Sure. And like the thing that I think a lot of people don't think about, or I think a lot of us are aware of, but right. we don't like consciously talk about a lot, is just how much time you really do spend with the people that you work with.
Their family.
Yeah.
You spend almost more time with them.
Yeah.
And you watch, in the show, you see certain characters and what happens when what happens to their real families.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's pretty intense.
And so, we see the headlines of like, in real life, we see the headlines of like, oh, this person did this or this person did that. And it's like, but, think about that. Like, what if,
right.
Yeah. Like,
how many people are affected by that?
How many people are affected by that? Even something as simple as like, this person was my friend and I trusted them. And like, it turns out that they actually did this thing. What does that say about me? Like, have I helped in some way? Did that, what is, all the ramifications, that's really easy to kind of sweep that under and not really think about that. And, and so, or even, when you talk about something where it's like a TV show or something where the person is very much like the face of that individual, sure. very much is kind of like, if their image is tarnished, that means there's a whole lot of people who are out of the job.
Exactly. It's just very much like that domino effect depending on how things go. Yeah. So do you guys tape that in LA or in New York? Because it seems like the facade's in New York.
Yeah, so they do some exteriors out in New York, and then but most of it we film out here in LA.
Are you
Yeah.
guys currently recording for season 2?
Yes.
Because I've seen Instagram pictures by people saying like I see like a part of a script.
Yeah,
So it is happening.
Yeah. So we did start at the beginning of the month. We started the second season. I'm trying to be careful because even my relatives were in town and they were like, "Oh, so what about this character and this character?" I'm like, "You guys know I can't say anything. I can't
Calm down."
Yeah.
Are they from Chicago?
Yeah.
They're nosy Midwest.
They're from the Midwest. Yeah. So I have my family and my in-laws are from the Midwest.
So yeah, let's talk about it. So where did you grow up? What part of the city?
Yeah, so I grew up in a couple different places. So just for people that are from Chicago, I grew up outside of exactly. I'm like I grew up partly into the city, but mostly out of the city. So because when you tell people like when you're not from Chicago, you can be like, oh yeah, Chicago, and then they're talking about like
when you're in the inner city, everyone gangs up on you.
Yeah. So I went to school out in the suburbs. I went to Homewood Flossmoor.
Oh, of course.
Yeah, so I went to school there, and then my dad was on the south side.
Okay.
So he was like around 35th and King. So I split my time between being out in Homewood and then being out in the city with my dad.
So where'd you go for grade school?
Where did I go? Flossmoor Hills.
Okay.
I went to Flossmoor Hills.
And then you went to Homewood Floss for high school?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, Flossmoor Hill and Parker Junior High. Parker. Yeah.
Parker. Cool.
Yeah,
and then how did acting become part of your life?
It's funny actually. When I think about it, it's kind of been around for a long time. So the truth is that when I was growing up, I played a whole bunch of different musical instruments. So I was always doing something. I was always like, okay, I'm playing the piano for like a year. I played the cello, I played the guitar, I played the drums. I just was doing and I was in lessons and all that stuff. I was going to be a swimmer for a while, all that. And then I'm not even going to lie. When I was 11, I like there was a play we did at our school, and I was like, okay, well, let me try this. And I forget what play it was. And, and I remember thinking, oh, this is great. I don't have to practice. It's easy.
It was like, what do I don't have to do anymore?
Yeah,
that's so funny. You fell ass backward into it. That's
and then that was like a damn lie. And like, that was a full on lie. So I tricked myself into it. And that was a hot minute ago. I'm not 11 anymore. And so since then it kind of is just like been a stubborn thing where I just kind of, I did that in high school. Like I got pretty serious pretty quickly, meaning like I did like speech team, all that stuff. So I was in school early and I was in school late, rehearsing, working on stuff. And it wasn't until like I graduated though that I actually started like doing commercials and things like that. But yeah. So I've like been involved in it in like non-professionally since I was little. And then once I became an adult, there was like a moment where I went, oh, this is what I do. Like, oh, I've been doing this for a minute. Like yeah.
Yeah. Like let's lock it in. Let's make it official. Like, okay.
Yeah. It's like, we've been dating for a minute. Like, let's put a ring on it. Like it was like that.
That's so funny. I didn't know stages talk, but that's cool. So I always am interested because family has a huge part of all this because you're playing all these instruments. First of all, somebody had to be pretty supportive of you actually doing all that.
Yeah.
So did your family pretty early on go, okay, this girl's like good at what she does. Let's just keep on throwing instruments. Let's throw the kazoo at her, see what happens. Like how did it morph into eventually like, because acting, like I have a kid. I know how it goes.
Yeah.
Acting classes, dance classes. Yeah. How did it all work out with them?
I mean, I'm super grateful. Like now, like, I see around me, there are a lot of people that don't have a similar situation in that, it's not like I grew up in the business. Like there are some people where it's like, oh, their parents are producers or writers or something. And
I'd hear for sure.
Yeah. And that's how it kind of happens for me. Like there were a lot of creative people in my family, and the truth was that, growing up, my sister was really into sports. I was into more creative stuff. And honestly, from the jump, for both of my parents, it was like, whatever you choose to do, as long as you actually work hard at it, we'll support you.
That's awesome.
And I remember, so like in high school, for people like the super nerds that know about speech team.
I just mentioned I did Scholastic for a minute.
Okay.
But to be honest, I was not very good. But it's okay. It's okay.
But like, I remember, so speech team, for people that don't know, is like it's like kind of drama competitions, and you like can do monologues, and like people will, you like do it's like a competition basically, and people will rank you and stuff. And I got really into it, really heavy. And even I remember, like, I think it was my junior year, I was the only year that I didn't go to state or something like that. And my mom, I remember at one point I had like started dating that year, and my mom, like, when I didn't, there's like one round of like regionals, or I don't even remember what it was, but I didn't make the final cut to go to the final competition, right? And we were driving home, and my mom just went, "You know what? You weren't that serious this year."
Wow.
She was like, "It's okay. You didn't."
Did she do that to dig, or did she do that as like? It wasn't a dig.
She was. It was just really just straightforward. She was just like, you've been hanging out a lot, and that's great. And also, like, but I can tell, actually,
that either does two things to you. That is either going to light a fire like a mad woman, or it's going to be like, you know what, she's right, I don't care about it.
Actually, you know what? This is the honest to God truth. What my mom said to me. This is honestly, she's going to hate me for saying this.
It's okay, Mom. Relax.
She actually said, "I knew you weren't going to make it to state because I know you when you're going to win, because you act like a bitch the whole week before."
Oh my God.
When you get serious, and you're like, you are so tough to be around for that week before. And then I'm like, oh, she's going to win. Oh, she's going to, but like, you were just real chill, real relaxed. And I was like,
but that's so fun. First of all, that's funny. Hey, she knows you really well.
I mean, she wasn't wrong. She wasn't wrong.
It's really funny. But on the flip side, though, it's also cool because I know I've been around enough adults. Some people will lay into you because it's kind of that, you spent all, you should have been doing this, or you should. Right. It sounded like she was just like, well, that's up to you.
Pretty much. Like,
that's awesome.
From the jump, both of my parents were very, like, with both me and my sister, were just like, well, whatever you want to do. I remember them saying very explicitly multiple times, just like, we think that you can do whatever. You just have to, whatever you decide to do, you're going to do it. And so as long as you go for it, we're going to support you no matter what. So, like, my dad was like,
Mr. and Mrs. Friendly, well done.
Yeah,
cool.
My dad was like, you probably, you could have been a lawyer, you could have been this, you could have been that. I know, they never, and I know that that's not everybody has that with their parents.
You've been here for 18 minutes. I knew walking through the door, you are that kind of person. Like, I already feel like you could have easily been a lawyer. You could have been in politics. You just have a good aura about you. Like, I feel like you could just kind of speak your truth, and I think people would just kind of buy into it. But obviously, that helps for acting a lot as well. So you did that for high school, and you knew, obviously, after speech and all this other stuff. You didn't go back to music, though.
No.
Do you still play anything? Do you not remember any of it?
I wish I did. The one instrument that I'm like, is I wish I still played the cello.
I love the cello.
I do. Cool. I have a soft spot in my heart for the cello. I do.
You always pick it up. Do you have kids or anything right now?
No, I don't.
Does your husband play anything?
Plays the bass and the guitar.
Okay. I was gonna say that would be a fun thing to take back. I don't know. It's never too late. Honestly, even for myself, like I play a little guitar, and I life is busy. Okay, it's hard to do, but it's one of those things where I recommend it. It's fun. Once in a while, you just pick it up. You're like, oh my God, feels good again.
Yeah.
So you after high school, you came out here, correct? LA?
No, I was in Chicago for a bit more. I went to New York for a little bit for school, and then I came back, and then I came back to Chicago, and then I was doing theater out there, and like doing commercials, and I got an agent and stuff, and I was kind of like I was working, but it was more like I was kind of working. I was also partying a lot. I'm not gonna lie.
So you weren't a bitch for a week. You were like constantly just having fun.
I was. I would say like if it's because of I was this age, but honestly, like people have different lives. So
But you seem like you'd be a really good student. Were you a good student?
I was, but then I had a time where I just wanted to wild out for a bit. You know, I was probably making up for it. Like I was a very serious kid, you know, so I definitely like, you know, I think I tried to make up for that for a little bit. So, and then I actually came out here for grad school.
Gotcha.
So I was doing theater in Chicago for a little bit, and then I was like, for me, it felt like the right thing to do to go to grad school. So that's actually what took me out here. I originally wasn't planning on. It wasn't like I was like, oh, I'm going to move to LA. I was auditioning for schools, and then you know the one that seemed right happened to be out here. And my original plan was I was going to go out and move to New York afterwards. That's what seemed like the right fit for me.
You thought it was going to be theater.
But, you know, graduating, I thought I was going to do both. I was like, I'm going to do theater and I'm going to do film, and you can TV and film, and you can kind of start doing that in New York, you know?
Yeah.
And it just so happened that, you know, I ended up meeting some people out here, and I started working and stuff, and
here you are.
I was like, oh, okay.
So how many years you been out here now?
I'm
not trying to age you. I'm just
no. That's fine. I legit sometimes so I'm surprised sometimes where now I've even said my age wrong to people before, because I'm like, oh, that's
I'm 65.
Actually, yeah, exactly. I'm 82. No, but I guess I've been in LA proper for like 6-7 years now.
Okay.
Yeah, like about that.
Cool. And in college, obviously you were, or in grad school, I guess, were you meeting people that eventually you feel like that helped you get to where you are today? Are you still in contact with?
Yeah, some people. I mean, it's interesting because like, you know, I think each school is different, but like in our program, there was 8 a year. And so that's a very, very small group of people.
Very small.
So, you know, but there were people that like, there are definitely people that I stay in contact with, and we talk all the time. And then there are some people where like we were around each other for 3 years and we're like, all right, that was enough.
Yeah. That's funny.
You know, it's just a random selection of people, you know, not from the people who are selecting. It's obviously not random for them, but like in terms of your chemistry with that group, it's
8 people.
I mean, yeah.
It's small.
Yeah. And it's like, if you've ever, you know, I joke because I have friends and stuff that are in like bands. And whenever I watch them, I'm like, it's like dating 5 people. Yeah. Like the chemistry and it kind of felt like that with grad school too, where it's like you're just picking people, and some of them are really gonna click, and some of them, you know, it's normal.
Were you at USC? Where'd you go?
Oh no, I went to UC Irvine.
UC Irvine. Gotcha.
Yeah, so I was like out in Orange County.
Wow. Cool.
Yeah.
No, that's cool. When did the actual, like, you know, you were saying you're doing commercials and stuff like that. When was your first, in your mind, your big gig?
I guess I should have an answer for that.
No, I mean, like you've done a number of shows, and you've done. By the way, you play a doctor like every 5 seconds. I feel like it's so funny. You're just let's throw her in there. I do play a lot of doctors.
I mean, the first one that made it to air was out here. Was I got. I have an affinity for Shondaland, meaning like all Shonda Rhimes shows, just because I'm Shondaland. Like, it just feels right, you know. And
she's a Chicagoan, right?
Yeah, Park Forest, I believe. Yeah, my sister played softball for the Park Forest team.
Cool.
But yeah, that was my first credit was on Grey's Anatomy.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's
so
awesome.
That like so
you did a photographer. I forgot you played.
Yeah,
it
was like one line. Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah, I mean it was whatever. Yeah, and it was just like, oh wow, you know, it felt like, and it was a good one for a variety of reasons. I mean, Linda Lowy's office, that casting office, it sounds like I'm kissing ass, but I just really enjoy going in for them. Like there's
Keep booking her.
yeah, you know, they will, and they, you know, they have a lot of Chicago like connections and just like a lot of Chicago roots with them, and you can see that when you watch their shows. There's a lot of Chicago actors.
That's awesome.
On their shows, and I don't know, whenever I go in there, that you can tell they just really like actors. And but like to have that be the first,
it's a big one.
yeah, and it, with the unique thing about it too is at that point it was like their 11th season,
Right.
you know, and there aren't a lot of shows that now it's still on the air. Now it's like the longest running medical drama in history.
Yeah.
You know, and even at that point it was like to watch everybody, it's like a machine to get on one of those sets. It's like it really is something to watch how everybody works.
How would you compare that to the morning show? And I feel like the scope has got to be similar.
I mean, it's unique. Well, on the morning show, like the combined experiences, it's hard to describe, like to compare, because
there are a lot of people watching and listening who have no idea what you're talking. I have an idea.
Okay,
but they might
so
not.
on the morning show, for people who haven't seen it, like I have a hard time even saying it, but like every like time I turn around, I'm like, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh. Like I'm just in awe of the people that I'm working with, you know. And you're just like every scene you're watching or in a part of, everyone is so on top of their game, you know, and everybody's so kind and really easy to be around. It's a really easy, comfortable set to be around, to be honest.
That's awesome.
And so the only difference with the first season is that, like with any show, when you're doing your first season, you're kind of trying to find the voice of the show.
Of course. The writers are constantly changing things up. Yeah.
Yeah. But like what's nice about like the morning show is that you know, even with the first season of people trying to figure stuff out, everybody has so much experience and they're such pros and they're so on top of their game that it's like, whatever, we're good, we'll figure it out, you know. So the only difference would be like, you know, season 11 energy is going to be different for any show.
So what was it like? It felt like just a well-oiled machine, like everyone just knew their spot.
Yeah, it was like, I remember on Grey's, and again it was just like this one scene, it was like people were like, you know, and Sandra I love Sandra.
Yeah, she's awesome.
And you know, they would say people were like saying things, and it wasn't just like, oh, that they were using lingo I didn't know. It was that, oh, they're like speaking shorthand to each other because they're around each other so much that like this person is like, you know, I remember Sandra was trying to work on something and in the scene, and I remember her like, I was like, girl, you did not say a full sentence. But like everybody around you.
And I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah. But everybody around you knew what you were saying. and it all worked out and you got what you needed and you guys worked the scene.
That's cool.
You know, like you could clearly tell like the agency, you know, that Ellen and Sandra in particular had, and the presence that they had on set, just because like they had been with those characters for so long.
That's
you know
cool.
what I mean?
That's really cool.
And like, yeah, and that it was like people didn't even have to say full sentences, and like
you're the newbie, like, so what do I do here?
Yeah. I was definitely like, what's.
So do I like step in here? Like,
yeah.
And it's like, oh, okay, I guess I'll do whatever you want me to do.
Yeah.
Dude, that's funny though. I mean, it's cool though. It's also what's nice is, I'm sure when they're that comfortable, they when you're the new person, they're probably like, we got this, so we'll help you out, or, you know, were people cool at least on set to you?
Yeah. Oh yeah. They're very, very comfortable. You know, and every set is very different. You know, sometimes you feel it's challenging going into a show and doing. I think it's super hard to come in and guest or on a show, whether it's a co-star or a guest star or whatever. Meaning like you come in for a scene or an episode, because like it's like you're the new kid at school. You know, and like everybody else knows each other, and like you're supposed to perform at the same level as everybody else, but it's like it's like, you know what I mean? You know, it's a lot. And I definitely would say that I remembered feeling like, oh, okay, they're, you know, They weren't like, oh, we're gonna treat you, but it was like they didn't. Sometimes you can come into stuff and you almost feel like you're not as welcome.
But I always admire those people who do come in and then they kill it. When you were back in high school, and obviously you were doing some theater and speech and stuff like that, did you have time to like have a real Chicago job? Like, did you like work at the mall or something?
Oh, you mean in high school or in college?
Either. Well, you said you didn't do college in Chicago.
Oh no, I did. I did
but...
undergrad I did do part of my undergrad. I did go to the theater school at DePaul.
Oh, okay.
I did. Yeah, I did theater studies there. So I was actually, because I did a year in New York and then I came back to Chicago and I did 3 years in Chicago.
So for work, did you actually have to in college or high school like do any fun jobs?
Fun jobs?
Well, fine, not fun jobs, but jobs were not acting that we all could look back at and go, my gosh, you did that. Let's hear it.
I don't even remember.
Yeah, come on.
I'm not even sure.
Did you wait tables?
I never waited tables, but I did do. I did coat check, which you can only really do in a city like Chicago.
Did you do that at like a hotel, or you did that at like a theater?
I did that at like a bar.
Oh, at a bar.
I had to do that at a bar, and the people were wasted, and I made actually
what bar
good
was
tips.
This?
I don't even think it's there anymore. I was talking to somebody recently, and I don't even remember. It was in Lincoln Park. It was some bar that had like these gauze like curtains, and they were trying to be super cool. These like white, like everything was white and like white leather, and then like white fabric.
What is this place?
I don't even know anymore.
Okay.
So I did coat check there. I did. I picked up some odd jobs. I did a lot of like just like parties, like bartending. You know, I had some friends that were like, "Oh, we do this." I did chocolate tours.
Oh, dude!
I did.
I've signed family members up for that stuff.
Yeah, I've done. Yeah, I did. Like, I actually both in.
You go on Groupon and stuff like that.
Yeah, I've done that both in LA and Chicago. I did like chocolate tours where I just take people around to do,
by foot.
Yeah,
you like just go to different chocolatiers.
Yeah, and then I talked to them. So that was like a tour guide. I worked at the Museum of Science and Industry
That's a cool gig to me.
I liked that gig.
What'd you do?
I was a tour guide there as well. See the theme? Where it's just me talking to
a doctor on TV, but a tour guide in real life. That's funny.
And actually, I was a tour guide on. I think they changed it now, but it used to be the U-505, the U-boat, the German U-boat.
Oh,
at
Navy Pier or
the Museum of Science and Industry.
Oh, okay.
I think now it's like enclosed, that they did like a whole renovation, but like it used to be like outside, and it used to be a big metal tube outside in the sun, and I would walk people through the U-boat and give tours. And sometimes when it was super busy, we would have to stay on the U-boat and in the sun.
Oh yeah, you're burning up. That's crazy.
In the sun
during the summer.
Oh hell yeah.
Oh,
Yup.
Oh hell yeah.
Yeah. So it felt exactly like it sounds. I would be in a tube, and this metal tube, and we would be at like stationed at different spots of the U-boat, and people would come in and we would give little factoids. And I know a lot about World War II German U-boats. It's not a submarine, it's a U-boat.
Any fun fact we should know right now? Give me like a Snapple fact.
I definitely think that the U-505 is haunted, and the people that have worked on that in the museum have talked about that in the captain's quarters. In the captain's quarters in particular, I have experienced things and I've heard things.
Wow.
But I've definitely experienced things where I'm like, okay, there is some shit going down. Like,
oh man.
And I remember one time giving a tour, and like my back was, it would always happen in the same spot, like in the captain's quarters. There was some shit that had happened in the captain's quarters. I forget, there was some story somebody told me. Honestly, at this point, I don't remember, but I definitely remember like at least once, like talking to a whole group of people and then like feeling something at my back,
my
and then just being like, so we just gonna get the fuck out of
He's
this.
like, we've been here for 2 minutes. No, we're leaving.
No, we're getting off. Yeah.
Oh my god. By the way, Science, that's the one by U Chicago, right? That's
yes.
like the
Mm-hmm.
so
yeah,
because
it's like in 57th Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yes. So again, for people who are from Chicago, you'll know where all this is. But
Yeah.
Chicago is amazingly plentiful in amazing museums.
Yes.
Field Museum, Science and Industry, Shed Aquarium was always probably my favorite.
Yeah, I have to go back.
Yeah. How often do you go back? That's a good question.
Not as much as I used to. My family configuration has kind of changed. So I did go back this Christmas. I kind of go back like once a year maybe, but it's weird when the people start to it's really
Who's there right now?
I have some in-laws and I have a couple friends. And my sister is still up there. But like it's just it used to be my whole family was there, and then my whole immediate family was there, and then people have passed on or moved and stuff like that, so it just doesn't have the same feel for me.
Are your parents still around?
My mother is. Yeah.
Okay. Where is she now?
She's in North Carolina.
Okay, so she's not even in that area.
Yeah.
So it's not even like, why would I go back there?
Yeah, I mean one of my best girlfriends is actually like right downtown. She's like across from Millennium Park.
Oh wow. Nice.
Yeah.
Good deal.
Which is it's just funny because that's where my mom worked. My mom worked for like years and years before she retired.
What'd she do?
She worked for a nonprofit.
Okay. But like right in the heart.
Yeah.
That's cool.
She worked for a nonprofit, and she ran their IT department. It would be fun. Like when she lived in the suburbs, but she worked downtown, and then when I was living in Chicago, we would like meet up and like have lunch like downtown.
That's cute.
Like, yeah, it was like we're gonna have a ladies' lunch. Let's
look at the bean.
Yeah,
that's cool though.
Yeah,
that's cool that like when you go back, at least it's not like because I talk to some people here, they go back and they're in some suburb and they rarely go to see the city. You at least get to experience.
Yeah, I mean, I have some relatives. I have in-laws that are they're all in the suburbs. But like my friends that still are there, they're in the city. But it's a weird thing. There was a definite like moment where it's one of those things like Chicago will never leave me, and it very much has like shaped kind of who I am,
Mm-hmm.
And at the same time, like when I go back, I'm like, it's not it anymore. It's not my home anymore.
It's different.
It's different.
It is
yeah.
different.
And it's only because the thing about it is only because like I think you just realize like your home is just where you build it,
For sure. I agree with you because I feel that way when I go back. The only thing though that I do feel is that when you do certain things in the city, that's the stuff that takes you. But usually it's food for me. You have some food and you're like, oh, I'm back.
That or like honestly taking the train.
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah. We don't do that here in LA very often.
Yeah, no, getting on the L. I actually really enjoy that. I actually like. It's funny because this last time just the way my schedule worked, I had to like take the train in, and I was like, let me just I'll just get off at O'Hare, and I'll just go downtown, and then I'll just stay at my friend's house for a little bit. And we were trying to coordinate with family. They're like, oh, who's gonna pick you up? Who's gonna pick you up? I'm like, y'all relax.
I used to live here.
Yeah, I'm like,
I know these trains better than you.
I know. I'm like, I'll get a pass. It's fine. Like, it's actually kind of relaxing. Probably not now when you're thinking about like, I mean, to be honest, like it never felt sanitary.
Oh no,
it never felt sanitary.
You're not there for the sanitary reason.
No, it never felt sanitary. But there was something about like,
it's a camaraderie thing a little bit too.
Yeah, and like there's something about like taking the train where it's like I can look out the window, I can relax a little bit because out here in LA like you're driving all the time and it's just stressful as hell. And
yes.
You can't like I've adapted, like I have very specific coping mechanisms in my car. Like my
brown bag you just breathe into a lot.
No, my podcast and my like music game and my audiobook game is like fucking tight. Like I it's on lock because otherwise like I wouldn't be able to do that. But
so funny.
But like yeah, like when you're on the train you can like look out and you can actually you actually get a sense of like the city.
I agree.
And because it's just the way that Chicago is set up, you taking the train to a few different places, you can actually get your bearings pretty well, you know, if you keep your eyes out, you know. So actually, I would say actually taking the L makes me feel like, oh, no time has passed at all. Except this time I took the train down to the Loop, and then I got off in the Loop, you know, at like the same stop that like I used to like right off of where my mom would go and stuff like that. And then now they have this like whole mall. Like,
where is this?
I forget. It was like Washington and something. It's where like the all the there's like a big you know, where they have a lot of the transfer stops. There's like a couple of stops down near the Loop where like all of the lines kind of run to.
This isn't like a merchandise mart. You're talking about like
not merchandise mart, like in the loop in the you know
like where the brown line, purple line, and red line are like all intersecting.
Yeah, where like I guess is it Macy's now? I don't know, whatever. But there's a movie theater. There's like an AMC, and there's like a big ass mall that they like built on top of like.
I'd have to see. I honestly don't even know.
For all the people that are like in Chicago right now, they're like, "Yeah, bitch, we know what you're talking about." They're like, "Okay, it's been a minute."
They're like, "What do you mean? That mall was always there."
Yeah, and I'm like, "But I hadn't taken the train into the Loop like in a minute."
See,
so that was
it's what
that
we were
was
saying.
Crazy.
I like the L, except for the underground parts. I used to take the red line all the time. Because it goes a straight shot to downtown.
Yeah.
And what sucks is like you're good. You're you know, you're going by Wrigley, you're going whatever, and then all of a sudden you dip and you're like, I can't see shit.
Oh,
that's why I like the brown line was always my favorite because like up the whole way. It was really pretty, and you could do that loop around. I don't know, it was cool. But food wise, what'd you do? Where were your spots?
Well, it's funny now that like I guess that's just what happens in time, but like the stuff that I used to eat, I can't eat anymore.
No, that's just called age. That's called getting older.
I was gonna say like, you know, I think back on like, ooh, deep dish, like, you know, like there's like a moment in your life when you like realize you're like, oh wow, I can't do that anymore.
Yeah. If I'm gonna do it's like a half slice, but
like I can't really eat. This is so boring. I can't like eat cheese like that anymore.
No, I understand.
But like that's a very Midwestern thing. I don't know. A lot of people I know can't do that, but I mean, it's funny because when I was living in Chicago, not because of the food, but because I was just partying all the time, I think I was eating a lot of bar food.
Ah, gotcha. I'm just curious where your hot spots were. What did you like to do? I'm like waiting for something crazy. Like that was a stripper.
No, I like. Is it messed up that I'm like, wow? I think my brain like blanked out like a good amount of time.
No, it's okay.
Where I like, because this will give you a good sense. I remember at one point when I lived in Logan Square, there was like a bar in the neighborhood, not just like on the main street, but like in the neighborhood.
Sure.
And like I would park my car and I would have to go walk past it, and I even knew some of the bartenders in there. So like,
you stop by and say hello.
I would stop by and say hello, and then like hours would pass. Like,
yeah, that's called going to the bar. That's not stopping by. It's a hangout.
Yeah, but it was like every night. So
that's so funny.
Where would I'm trying to think.
Like if someone says like, hey, I'm gonna go to the city, I'm gonna go hang out, and you're coming with me, where are we going?
You know, I feel like all the places that I went to, I don't even know if they're open anymore. Like all the cool places, I don't even know. Like because even in the time I was there, I feel like this is messed up that I can't even remember neighborhood names. But like, is it Wicker Park?
There's a Wicker Park.
Yeah, even Wicker Park in the time that I was there changed so much. Like there was
there's a lot of gentrification. There's so much stuff going on in different parts of the neighborhoods, and I know about that. But like specific like restaurants that you remember or anything?
There was a place I remembered in Wicker Park. Was it called Longman and Eagle? Or is Longman and Eagle...
That sounds really familiar.
Was Longman and Eagle in Logan Square? Was that the whiskey bar in Logan Square? Or is Longman and Eagle the cigarette place? There was a place in Wicker Park that I think turned into a Doc Martens store. But before and I felt so bad for them. So it was actually a tobacco shop. It was like a tobacco cafe. And I'm not even a smoker, right? They had like you would go in, it was like a lounge, like they had like different rooms where like they would have couches, you could do board games, they would have projections where you could watch.
It's just a cool
like
place to chill.
It was a cool place to chill. Like you could get tea. They didn't serve alcohol, so it was like you could get tea.
Wait,
yeah,
what?
yeah,
It's a smoke shop that doesn't serve alcohol.
because I think
No liquor license,
I
or?
think it was either they served like beer and wine or something like that because of the license.
I see.
But like what they had was like you go up and it was like a glass case, and it would have like loose leaf tobacco, and they would actually roll the cigarettes for you, and it was like and they were like flavored, but not like added flavor, like not like, oh, we put like cherry flavor in it. It was just the actual leaves would like smell like Earl Grey. And like I'm not even a smoker, and I could like have like it was like a nice like little like treat. And you could smoke inside. And I remember when they passed like the
smoking ban stuff.
yeah, they had spent like thousands of dollars to change the air filtration system so that the air inside was actually fresher than the air outside.
Wow.
They had spent all this money because they wanted to make sure that they could stay in business. And it was like they like things like they would have like the tobacco was like rose scented, and like they would pair like teas and drinks with like your tobacco.
Like a boutique version of a smoke shop. That's really interesting.
Yeah, it was like, I think like this big tobacco company owned it, but it was like it was like artisanal, you know, and like and it was just such a unique place. And even
I'm not a smoker, but that sounds cool.
Yeah, like honestly, like I would just go to just like read or just like do work and like bring a book or bring a laptop and just like hang out. Like the whole place was real chill.
It's cool.
And then like and then I felt so bad for them because A, I loved it, and then B, like someone here listening to this will know what the hell I'm talking about, and they'll be like, also A, you old, but also B, like they'll be like,
don't say
it, but you know, but also B, like I know what you're talking about. But yeah, and then they lost their they couldn't, once the ban happened, they thought that they could stay in business, and then they had done all this stuff, and then it turned into like a damn shoe store or some shit, like something really boring.
How do hookah places exist with a smoking ban?
Yeah, that was the thing. I think it was something like they were trying to do, I don't know what the way it works.
But they basically weren't compliant for whatever reason. That's shut. Which sucks.
Yeah, because it was such a.
So you used to hang out there. That was a cool.
Yeah, it was like a unique. Like there's not a lot of places where you can go where you can just go and hang out.
Yeah.
You know, aside from like a loud bar.
Yeah.
You know, and that was a place where like even if you didn't smoke, it was just like you could go, and the air was clean, the air was fresh because they spent all this money filtering it. But anyway, so I used to hang out there a lot, and there are a few places. I used to hang out in Wicker Park quite a bit.
Okay.
And I would just kind of walk up and down Milwaukee. Was it Milwaukee? Yeah. And then
did you meet your husband in Chicago, by the way?
Yeah.
Where did you meet him?
Well, we originally met we went to different high schools.
Where did he go? So you went to Homewood Flossmoor.
No, yeah, he didn't go to my high school. I always mix up Thornbridge and Thornwood, and someone's gonna yell at me.
Thornwood is where Thornwood Academy. It was a good basketball school. I know that because there was a couple big players that came out of there.
Yeah, it was one of the Thorns.
One of the Thorns. Okay, we'll just say Thorn.
Yeah, and then we met. Like we actually technically met in high school briefly, and then I didn't remember that, and then.
He was probably at the smoke shop.
And then we met again in college a little bit, and then before I came out here, yeah.
Oh, cool.
So,
is he an actor?
No. Mm-mm.
What does he do?
He works for the city.
Yeah. City of LA.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So he's not in the business, but he like appreciates
and he supports you and all that stuff for that.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Did your dad? I don't want to get too personal if you don't feel comfortable, but did your dad ever get to see you achieve some great things out here? When did he pass?
It was a few years back. Yeah. Not long ago, but it was like, it's been a few years now. It's but
did he see Grey's Anatomy? Was there anything where he's like, oh man?
He did see Grey's Anatomy.
Okay, that's cool.
So he did see me, and he did see me start to like book stuff. Yeah.
That's great.
There are definitely things that like I wish, you know, but he it was funny actually. There was a period where, I was just getting started, and there was a period where I just started to work more. And like, he was able to kind of see the start of that.
That's great.
Yeah. And again, like, that was one of those things where both of my parents, but my dad in particular, he was, and my mom is, they never felt like they needed to wait to tell us how much they valued us. There was never like, oh, like at the end, then I finally had this conversation. It was like, we always knew. We always knew how like important we were to him, and they were always very vocal about like how great they thought we were and stuff, and like, then that's a very very valuable
it's the most
thing.
important thing in the world. Are you kidding?
It really, really is, because it's like you pump somebody up when they're young, and I'm like, oh shit, I can take on. Sometimes it's like, I might be a little delusional, but you know what? Like, sometimes you need that.
No, that's
sometimes
great.
You need that to just be like, you know what? I am the shit.
Yeah.
Like,
Why'd you say?
I'm really like, sometimes you need to like have those moments. You're like, you know what? Like, it's okay. Like, I'm good.
No. It's especially in the arts, man. It's a tough gig. But
and I think that, like, I don't know. I think anytime you go after something that like means a lot to you.
Of course.
I think the stakes are just innately higher, and I think this is a challenging industry, but I also think that there's a lot of jobs and things where, and professions and career paths where it's like, if it means a lot to you, it's just going to be really challenging.
Of course.
And I was like, why would this is when I said I did a million different jobs. One of them was I worked at Whole Foods, and I worked at Whole Foods.
Out here or in Chicago?
In Chicago.
Okay.
And I did work at a Whole Foods downtown, and we did get a lot of celebrities that would come in there. I will say the biggest celebrity, the one where like we got a lot of celebrities, and like everyone would kind of be like, oh, it was a lot of like Steppenwolf actors and stuff like that would come through, and some of the movies.
Malkovich and Sinise and all those guys.
But I will tell you, man.
Who'd you get?
It was before he was president. I've never seen people react to anybody in my life the way I saw everybody react to Barack Obama when he wasn't even president. He wasn't even running for president.
But he was a senator at the time.
Yeah, he was a senator at the time, and it was like everybody, like the employees, like the people in the store, everybody dropped what they were doing, and they all walked up and stood in line to like shake his hand and like say hello. Well, when he was at the damn salad bar.
Yeah, I was gonna say, this dude's trying to get some macaroni.
He was at the salad bar. He had a bodyguard, and it was like, it wasn't just like, oh my gosh, it was like, Mr. Obama, like, you are like,
you're an inspiration.
Yeah. I've been around a lot of famous people, and I can tell you, I've never seen people react to somebody the way that I saw people react to him. That was a whole other level, because it's not just like, oh, you're famous. It's like, we really respect you.
Of course. Well, where were you during his when he actually was?
When he was elected.
Well,
when he was elected,
because he gave the big speech in Grant Park, whatever it was.
He did, yeah. And actually,
were you there?
Well, I was watching. I was in a bar.
Yeah. If you get into the foreshadow,
there's a theme. But no, I was in. But there's also a lot of bars in Chicago. But I voted, and then I was watching with a friend of mine, and we were just watching at a TV, monitor. And then my sister went down to Grant Park. My sister's involved in a lot of like community organizations. She actually has come across, like, she's worked with Michelle Obama like a few times on different projects. Yes.
I know which Michelle you're talking about.
And she actually lived not far from where their house is out there. But so my sister went down to Grant Park, and then the morning In the morning, we woke up and just said, we're buying tickets. So we bought tickets to DC for his inauguration.
Wow.
Like, I was like, this is going on my credit card. I was like, this is going on my credit card, but like, this is historic. We have to. And then we didn't even have a place to stay, but we ended up going to DC together for his inauguration. And that was just like, that was such a memory.
Have you ever got to meet him besides that Whole Foods moment?
It was just the Whole Foods. Yeah, that's and that was actually a beautiful moment because my sister worked at Whole Foods at the time too, and he met her, and then like, mind you, he met her. We actually don't look that much alike, and like, he had met all these other people, and like, shook their hand, talked to them, She didn't mention me when she met him, and like, whatever, and then like a half hour later, I was able to get up to him and shook his hand, and I was like, my sister actually, and he goes, oh, April.
Oh my God.
And then he recalled their entire conversation that he had with my sister after he had been talking to all. I can't do that.
No. This dude's special. We all knew that a long time ago.
Yeah.
But that's like extra special.
Yeah.
That means you really care about the people that you talk to.
Yeah. Yeah. And I was like, whatever people think about, whatever. Yeah. Whatever people think about, people, it's just like, don't talk about politics or whatever. Whatever people think about, I think he was a great president, but like, whatever people think about him and they agree with his politics or not agree with his politics, like, there are some people that are just really gifted and they really do have, just an impact on people, and they just affect people. They just affect like the energy in the room, and it's not a common thing. There are a lot of charming people out there. There really, really are. But like, there are some people that just kind of inspire.
Yeah.
And that's a really special thing. That's a really unique, special thing. And that's,
I've always wanted to meet. I mean, even just watching all the montages, for me, it's kind of like when people say, are you a dog person kind of thing?
Yeah.
When you're good with kids,
yeah,
it tells me everything. Like, and when you watch montages with him with kids, it is the cutest thing in the world, but it tells you a lot about a person.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I just thought that even if I met that guy and he likes to eat burgers, he was like, I always like to eat my cheeseburgers or whatever. If I got to meet him there and not even know that he was president, I'm sure he'd be awesome to hang with. It's a dream.
Yeah.
But that's cool. You got to meet him.
Yeah. Actually, me, my mom, and my sister met him at separate times.
Oh,
yeah.
It'd be hilarious. Met April, met Amber.
Yeah.
How are you? Do
you
say hello to your mom?
Yeah, all before we all met him before he was president.
I wonder. I bet you he hasn't changed in the way he talks to people. I'm sure he's the same guy.
I mean, he looks happier. He looks grayer and also like relieved. He looks more like once he left, he's like, we're going on vacation.
Yeah, exactly. Well, it sucks though. Like, I always think about it. He's stuck now to bodyguards for the rest of his life. Like, there's no walking away from it. But no, that's really cool. That's really cool. You got to experience that.
Yeah.
I don't want to take any more of your time, but I want to just know, you're going to be in the next season of the morning show. Any other cool things you got coming up? Anything you want to tell us? What do you got going on?
Yeah, we're working on season 2, so that's I'm really excited about that. We just started, so I'm like, yay. It's the writers are so great, so I can't wait to see what happens. And then, I just did a spot on 911, which was really great.
Yes,
I got
that's
to
a cool
work
TV
with
show.
Angela Bassett, and then I just worked on Station 19, which was a really great, another Shonda Land project.
Social media, all that stuff. Where do you want people to find you?
It's under Amber Friendly. At Amber Friendly, I make it real simple. So I think on Twitter I'm Miss Amber Friendly. Yes. I'm like, let me look. Yeah, I got this on lock. Yeah, I'm good.
You're so funny.
Amber Friendly.
And Friendly is not a stage name. That's
just my family.
Because I'm sure you got that your whole life.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Someone asked me out here. They were like, Amber Friendly. They actually said, they like scoffed. They were like, what's a silly stage
Is that Mark
name?
Duplass? Did you?
Yeah, no. Oh God, Mark.
You slapped that
Yeah, it
guy.
was Mark Duplass. No. So it was like, ugh, that's a dumb stage name, and I was like, get out my face. Like,
We're at Whole Foods again. Stop it.
Yeah, I'm like, B, nah, dude. I'm like,
It's a great name.
Thank you. But I'm like, I'm from Chicago. Like, that's not
We don't change our name.
not like that. I'm like, I would come up with something. Like,
Yeah, you'd be
more
like Amber
clever.
Badass.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
I know what you mean. Well, thank you very much for coming on
Yeah,
the
my
show.
pleasure.
And check out everything she's got going on and watch season 2. I don't know when it's going to be airing. You don't even know when it's going to be airing. But
After we finish.
they are shooting it. And thank you very much for watching Chiaspora. We'll talk to you later. If you want to buy some cool stuff, this is a Chicago hat, but this is a Chiaspora shirt. You can go to chiaspora.com. All right, take it easy. Thanks. And I am Marc Morgan. Amber Friendly. Take care. Thank you.